Now, nearly 3 months after the disappearance of the two Meitei students, two photographs have now appeared in social media. The photographs are of the students who had disappeared on 6th of July. The first photo shows the face, and in the second, they are lying on the ground, which I am not going to show you because the photograph is of the children. But they disappeared. The government said that they were murdered in cold blood, and their inquiry matter has been handed over to the Central Bureau of Investigation. And state government has also confirmed that these students indeed were kidnapped. It reveals a very ugly picture of Manipur violence. As I said, like earlier video of two women being disrobed and paraded naked, the video has shocked the entire state. It is a reminder of the initial phase in which people were killed, many disappeared. It also busts the myth of one-sided violence. Violence was two-sided. Both the communities went after each other, but then this really shocks persons. How can you kill small children like that? Manipur government has pressed its entire machinery into action. Let me play out the visuals of Imphal also. There was a protest which took place. Some of them wanted to walk towards the residence of important people. This has agitated the entire valley because it's bust the myth of what you call one-sided violence. Let's play out those pictures in full. These two children were killed in cold blood. And imagine, children are protesting. Brijesh, first your opening comment on this, then I am going to introduce our guest on this issue.
Well, Kartikeya, I think this is an extremely sorry and very unfortunate development of the disappearance of these two kids. It's heartbreaking to see the photographs, and we cannot even imagine the kind of pain and trauma the parents must be undergoing. It's terrible outcome of the violence which has been plaguing Manipur since 3rd of May. A very, very unfortunate outcome. And I think, just like, when the video emerged when, two women were disrobed, paraded naked and gang raped, action were taken against most of the people who were partners in that.
Brijesh,
I think anybody who is involved behind this act should be dealt with the harshest
Absolutely.
of punishment possible, and no amount of explanation, irrespective of what, can justify.
Doesn't it also bust the myth of one-sided violence? It just shows the violence took place from both the sides.
Absolutely. See, Kartikeya, anybody who propagates or anybody who thinks that the violence is only one side, the other side is just sitting and receiving or bearing the brunt of violence is extremely a wrong notion. And I think the shock which we all got
surprised that they had
when
to
that video came.
I'm surprised that they had to deploy police to handle children. I think they could have done it in gentler way. How can you deploy? So these are children, yeah. There are ways in which you deal with kids.
Absolutely. And I think, when it comes to receiving or retrieving guns and all, the police has a completely different approach. If you try to deal with, ministries or when politicians protest. But anybody would be agitated. When we saw the visuals, we saw the photograph, we were agitated. Then those people, those children, who were part and parcel, who were living in the same area and things like that.
I thought, when those photographs came out of the two women paraded naked, who were assaulted by the mob, I thought that will be the first and last. But this really is hard.
And what is unfortunate, Kartikeya, what I can say is that
two children.
Is that the fact that, many more such ghastly stories will emerge as and when, it will emerge.
I'm raising the question that yes, the cases have been given to the Central Bureau of Investigation, good. But should there be a special, separate inquest into this matter of people who have disappeared in this violence, a special inquest for people who have disappeared, because there needs to be an accountability. I am joined by Thangmin Lal Dongal, researcher, scholar, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration. I am also joined by Group Captain Retired Nandakumar Sharma, spokesperson, Delhi Meitei Coordinating Committee, and Major General Sanjay Soi. Mr. Sharma, I will come to you. My first question, is this the way you deal with children on the streets of Imphal? One. And secondly, doesn't it bust the myth of one-sided violence? Two.
It is very sad, and it is not the way children should be handled in such a manner. How brutally these children have been handled. It is very unfortunate. They have been charged with, they have been bombed with tear gas cells, and many have injured. I have seen the videos of the injuries and the people in hospital. So very unfortunate scene, and they should have been handled with very carefully, and they should have allowed to enter whomever they want to meet. Maybe a chief minister or something. They want to listen to the leader. However, they were not handled in such a sympathetic manner, which is inhuman. And at the same time, I would not like to say much about, but such similar actions are not taken even when the arms militants or other protests happen. Anyway, leave aside. And this is very unfortunate. And also, I would like to say that the pickup of this such stories by the media, of course, thanks to your channel, you have picked up this, but other main media channel in the mainland, they have not considered the word picking up this story, and it leads to a question to be asked by the Manipuris, especially the
Mr.
Meitei
Sharma, is
communities,
there
to the
any other story
mainland
but
media.
this story? Is there any other story but this story? That the violence in
Absolutely.
Manipur has
Absolutely.
consumed children like this? There is no other story but this story
Yes,
to be
many
done.
will come up.
This ugly nature of the violence, the world, everyone needs to know.
Absolutely, and irrespective whether
Yes.
you're comfortable or uncomfortable with it. I mean, this is
If
as
people are
brutal as
uncomfortable,
brutal
they can
comes.
switch off their TV, but world needs to know that this was a two-way street. Children were being picked up. It was not a one-way, one street violence. Both the communities picked up, people who had nothing to do with it.
Absolutely.
The women who were paraded naked, and these children, imagine, they had no relationship with the entire conflict, and someone was so full of hate that they killed these children. I mean to say, you have to, you can't even imagine the hollowness of one's personality for them to cut someone's neck. General Soy, I'll come to you.
Absolutely agree. I agree with you, Kartikeya, and you have told correctly that a myth of one-sided violence has been broken, and in any class, the two-sided have always taken part equally or less equally. So this such type of violence is highly condemnable, and I request the state government and the central government to take immediate action to held responsible. And I would like here to mention that Mr. Kuldeep Singh, who is the say unified command in charge of Manipur, he should be accountable and held responsible for such lingering violence, and he should be start questioning, because all the security forces are under him, and immediate action should be taken. If he cannot, he should be changed, because for more than 4 months is very long to linger around such type of violence. This is what I have to say in my opinion.
Okay, General Soy, your comments, because these things are coming in social media. So it the bottom line is that it's like a drop here and a drop there of an entire picture or the truth, and that's how we make of it. But it tells us this is just a tip of an iceberg.
Kartikeya, in fact, I feel so hurt with this kind of news, these kinds of things happening. I must say that both other guest speakers will agree that this is not the culture of Manipur. In army was deployed in anti-militancy operation earlier. They were carrying out active operation. Even then, the women were never harmed. They could travel anywhere. The army women were never harmed. I mean, that is the kind of culture, the kind of respect women command in Manipur, whether it's tribal or Meitei, both. I think both speakers will, other guests will agree with me. And this is the kind of thing, imagine the children and the young girl being kidnapped and killed. The other incident that disrobed and raped. I mean, I think there's something bigger happening. There's something deeper in it. It is not the culture, it is not the thought process. I mean, anywhere, not only Manipur, you go anywhere in the tribal culture, women are respected, and especially in Manipur, whether you go to any market, you go to any job, in the villages or in the cities, you find the women play a very dominant role. And this kind of thing is never there. That's what I'm saying. Even the army, when we are carrying out operations, they never acted against women. This is not acceptable. This is absolutely, whosoever has done it, this is just not acceptable. I mean, how can somebody be so ruthless? I mean, such innocent children. And then there's something wrong, something deeply wrong, whether it is because of drugs, whether it is the money, whether it's a power game. I mean, they never harmed anybody. I mean, this is not the bravery. What kind of bravery somebody is claiming? This is, I think, joint. Nanda Kumar rightly said the joint operation. The chief, they have to take cognizance of these kinds of happening. This is just cannot be accepted, whether it is by Cookie or Meitei or by anybody. This is my take, Karthik.
Okay, Mr. Dongle, your opening comments.
Yeah, I have, I have three things to say in my opening comments. First is to do with the recent ongoing viral picture that shows the killing of two students. It is very unfortunate for that matter. And the violence that has erupted again today because of the protest by the students. Kartikeya, if you see, Manipur has had this sort of so-called violence protest even in the past. I'm not saying, not particularly to the viral picture, but also even in the past, due to many plethora of reasons. And by the way, I don't know which picture or video you're referring to, but then for all the panelists and also for everyone watching and listening, it is too early to jump to conclusions saying that, this is killed by the Cookie militants or the Cookies. The CBI is taking
Mr.
up the
Dongle,
investigation.
no one used the word Cookie militants.
Because when you say that the violence is not one-sided, I mean both-sided, it clearly reveals that the blame game is on the
It can be anyone. It can be armed militia. It can be illegal immigrants. It can also be a gang. It can also be a criminal. It can be anything. That is why I refrain from taking names of ethnicity. I refrain from doing it.
Let me come back. All I'm trying to say is, in my first point, let us wait for the CBI to investigate. The investigation is ongoing, and they will come up with the result, and definitely it will be it will be laid before us, and definitely we'll come to the conclusion as to who is responsible in this killing. And secondly, Kartikeya, if you look at towards the onset of the violence, we have also seen how the students themselves, today the students are protesting here. And I, being a student, also feel, the pulse of the students. But however, I like to raise a question on how, on the 3rd of May in the evening and 4th, many of the students themselves studying in Manipur University became, part of the mob, and they have attacked on the students of a certain community, to be precise, the Kukijo community. Now, when students are also themselves playing this, double role, it gives us a chance to ask a question as to whether the students are really tilted towards their own, emotionally tilted towards their own particular own community they belong to, and did not, give any sort of regards to the other students belonging to the other community. Because the students were attacked, and their documents, their everything that they have were vandalized and burned to ashes in Manipur University inside the campus. And this is not just on students, but also on the professors Kuki-Jo professors who were there, who are teaching in Manipur University. And thirdly, I know this sort of killing is, it's just like you said, it's a tip of an iceberg, which we have seen, because the internet ban has been lifted, and I believe that there are plethora of other things which might surface in the days to come. But all the point that I'm trying to make is the cruelty and the atrocity which was committed on Mr. David Thik, the beheading of David Thik, and the person who was responsible was also revealed. FI was lodged against this man, and in fact he's the close aide, the PRO of Kumbi constituency MLA. But this fellow who beheaded David Thik and displayed his beheaded his head on the fence is not arrested until today.